and welcome to Startup Kitchen Talks, where we learn the secret sauces, secret recipes to help startup apprentices to become master chefs. And today I'm joined by Jan Jiroušek, the Chief Marketing Officer of Dronetag. So Dronetag is one of the Czech gems, a tech startup founded in 2019, and they build RID, remote identification devices, which are essentially digital license plates for drones. So thank you very much for joining us, Jan.
Thank you for having me.
And I guess I'd like to start with a bit of an open question. So just tell us about Dronetag.
Okay, so as you mentioned, Dronetag is a Czech startup, and we are slowly moving from the startup world to the company world. And the company started with an idea because our founders, Lukáš, Thomas, and Marian, they got the invitation into a hackathon, and Lukáš was active drone pilot. And he thought about the future of drones when there will be a lot of things flying in the air, and there's no coordination tool, there's no harmonization, and no one knows where the drone is flying, where the pilot is. So during the hackathon, he got an idea that there will be a need on the global market for the drone identification. And that's how it started, even though at first they planned to join the hackathon just to get free pizza. And this is how it ended. Yeah.
I still mentor at hackathons for free pizza. And you've grown quite a lot since 2019. Where are you at now, kind of in terms of your growth and your development?
Yeah, so we do have, our products are being sold worldwide. We have the biggest market for us is in the US, followed by European Union, and then the Asia Pacific region is slowly waking up with the identification itself. And so we have sold like tens of thousands of our products worldwide, and we don't do only hardware. We do software as well. Of course, there's a firmware side. So we provide the whole ecosystem of the drone identification. We have a solution that broadcasts the identification data. That's a small module that you just attach to a drone. And then we have a different family of products, and those are receivers of these signals. So you can imagine that the portfolio is quite wide, and we have like 10 products and let's say 15 client segments. So this is a cube, how to find the key, how to shape the product, and we are still learning because we introduced the identification modules, and then we found out that when broadcasting identification data, that can be useful not only for the compliance, for the so-called remote identification. It can be used in different scenarios. It can be used in defense market. So these are the things that we are still learning because the drone market is really fast. It's developing. Each week is different.
Yeah, I wanted to ask who's buying these devices and what are they using them for?
Yeah. So one group of our clients are pilots. They need the compliance tool. They need to be compliant with the rule. The rule slightly differs, but it's based on the same technological standard. We can just to make it easier, we can say that each drone weighing more than 249 grams needs to have some kind of identification. That means that you can attach a module to it to retrofit the drone, or you can buy a new drone on Amazon that has the built-in version of the remote identification. So we provide the compliance solution to pilots. They need to be compliant. It's the same like you have to pay for the fee for using the highway. It's the same. It's a rule. You need to follow it. So this group of pilots are using our devices, our attachable modules, to become compliant and to be able to fly legally. So that's one group. Then there's a second group, and that's for the receivers. Those clients, they are mainly from the first responders, from public safety agencies, police officers, police departments, but also critical infrastructure or any place that needs to get the situational awareness if there is any drone flying around. Because even though you have restricted zones, this still doesn't avoid people being dumb, buying the commercially available drone and flying in place where they should not be flying.
Shutting down a large UK airport, for example.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And how is all of that controlled? I was talking to my 9-year-old last night, and he was saying, oh, there must be millions of drones in the sky, and is there some person watching them all, air traffic control? And I thought, well, it's such a problem of high scale now that it must involve some degree of AI and systems. How is all of this being coordinated? What are you doing with all of these signals?
Yeah. So there's no unified coordination system that you can utilize, because in the manned aviation there are different protocols and different communication standards being used. Then the segment of drones, they utilize the remote identification. That means that the drone needs to broadcast its telemetry data and its identification. The identification is like a number that can be decoded when you can use the database from the regulator itself. So there's no harmonization. But if we can imagine like an airport, there's restricted zone. There are planes with people inside flying. So they utilize so-called country UAS systems that they help them to get the information if there is a drone flying around. But these systems, they are really expensive. They are, it takes months to the implementation. You need to learn someone how to use it. And so in some airports, they do have these systems, but imagine smaller local airport. They don't have enough money and enough time to invest in it. So there's no harmonization. They just, build their own goulash of things being combined together, because they have bought some technology. And since the drone market is so fast, there's not enough time to adopt different technology in that time scale. So when remote ID came, we knew that there will be a need for receiving the signals. Because if there is a rule that says that your drone needs to broadcast these identifying messages, you would why not to listen to them? Why not to gather the data and work with them? So that's where we opened like a different segment of our clients. We started with the drone pilots. We just provided them the solution for the drone identification to become compliant, and with the receivers we are talking to a completely different group of customers: first responders, police officers, firefighters, airports, critical infrastructure. That's a completely different story. You're not just giving them solution for their legal flights, but you are giving them a tool that helps them to expose the pilot position. So this is critical to know where the pilot is.
Yeah, and the last part of the puzzle, I guess, is communicating with that pilot, right? Which is kind of core to air traffic control, being able to communicate with manned pilots in the sky. That's missing from this equation, right? I cannot get in contact with a drone operator and tell them, or either take control of the drone or tell the drone to.
Well, there are systems that will allow you to ground the drone. That's what I mentioned with the country UAS. There are different systems. You can try to shoot it down. You can try to make it get grounded to give him the order. Okay. When speaking the drone communication and the flight controller, But knowing where the pilot is means that you have to send someone to the position. And because you get the coordinates, you know where the pilot is. So that's how we mitigate the risk. Just tell someone, okay, go there and tell him to ground the drone.
It's wild that you would need to physically travel rather than digitally communicate with the drone operator in today's day and age with so many drones in the sky. And if I come back to your origin story a little bit, so you came out of this hackathon, and it seems like you've been supported a lot by many of the institutions of Czech Republic, also by European Union. Can you tell us a little bit about how the support has kind of been fundamental to bringing you to life?
Yeah. So these are, funds and getting money from these institutions helped us with the development of the products, because when doing combination of hardware and software, the private funding, it's hard to get fund because there is a risk that we will fail. So with these like publicly available fundings, or how we can call them, they take a bigger risk. So they let the companies to learn, to develop prototypes and to get to the market, because the drone market itself, it's weird, it's fast. There are so many companies doing so many things at once, and with the recent, what's happening in Ukraine and Israel, it moves faster and faster. There are still new things happening. So these institutions helped us, like having enough time and enough like energy to learn, because when playing with the radio signals, you need to have the right people to educate them, to work with them, and that's really expensive. So they helped us with this, with the funding of the project, of developing our products, and of course they helped us with, let's call it, networking, with getting in touch with different people from different segments, and having the opportunity to visit other countries. So that's really like important for us to be present on the markets, to travel, to get in person, and to get in touch with the market itself.
Yeah, and that led you to Taiwan, am I right? And can you tell us about how you've become a sort of international company? What's the relationship between Czech and Taiwan for your company operationally?
Yeah. So, Taiwan is a great country for companies trying to enter the Asia-Pacific region, because of their position between the other countries. So they are neutral. They don't have any bad relations with our countries. For example, if we would have chosen Malaysia or Thailand, we would have troubles entering other parts of the market. So Taiwan is great for this entrance. Plus, it's great for the market itself, because you can do non-Chinese components things. This is something that's really big in the US, and it will be big in EU as well. So when you want to produce non-Chinese, then you have to choose Taiwan.
Yeah.
So that's why we have chosen Taiwan, because to get the food onto the Asia Pacific region, go with Taiwan, and we do have few colleagues there, and we have great relations with them, and of course with the support of Czech institutions, because the relation between Czech Republic and Taiwan is good as well. So they helped us as well, because they have enough people in there and they know the market.
So geopolitical considerations kind of factor into your your strategy.
Yeah.
Interesting. You personally, so you're the head of marketing. It seems like you had a great job, cushy corporate job at an unnamed telecoms provider. And what made you decide to leave that and join this freshly founded startup that was kind of still in a basement, I understand, at that point in time? What made you do that? And did you have any culture shocks? What was it like?
Yeah, so I used to work in smaller companies as well, not startups, but mid in the terms of the size. Then I joined the telco company, and I was responsible for Internet of Things, which is some, let's call it, disruptive thing. And these telco companies, they need to push this, because selling connectivity, selling tariffs, it's business as usual. You have this many people in this region, so you know how many SIM cards you are able to sell. But when having the connectivity, when doing some unusual projects, you think about utilizing other things that non-traditional. So I really liked like working in the IoT world. That's where I learned a lot. And then we rolled out a new type of connectivity for Czech Republic, and the testing client was Dronetag. That's where I met Lukáš, because I was doing like a reference study or case study, let's call it, with him. And I really liked the product. I liked the idea behind it. And I was like, okay, why not? You know, so I knew nothing about startups. I knew nothing about what's early stage. And that I'm, you know, it's I'm doing it my whole life. If there's something interesting, I'm going to try it. So that's how I met Lukáš. That's how we agreed that I will become a part of Dronetag. Yeah.
And culturally, because I know I had that journey as well, going from corporate to startup world, and there's things you need to unlearn. And I think, you know, in the end of my startup journey, the biggest hiring thing for me was whether people could thrive in an environment of uncertainty. It was actually more important than technical competencies in the end, because some people get a big shock when they enter a very fast-moving and quite uncertain environment. So how was that for you, now that you've gone on the journey from that to actually something that resembles a more kind of structured and larger company?
You know, it wasn't as big shock for me, because I used to work in companies, as I mentioned, the Internet of Things for the, you know, for the mobile operator. And then I worked in the IT distribution. And these companies, they need to be fast. So even though we can call them like structured and traditional, I always worked in environment where we needed to be fast. So you have to forget about any like procedures, any processes and this kind of stuff. Okay, this is interesting, let's do it. So I was used to it. But of course, the cultural shock was the environment of the, you know, of the garage itself, because I was used to for like big spacious offices with air conditioning and coffee machine and this kind of stuff. So yeah, that was a little bit of shock, but you know, I'm not fancy, and so not fancy, but you know what I mean. I was like, okay, let's do it. This is the stage that we are at. Let's see if we can move. And we did.
Yeah,
so,
I actually, as an outside observer of the Czech psyche, I think Czechs are kind of made for the that startup journey, you know, very pragmatic, kind of down to earth, and not too, what's the word, you know, fancy to roll their sleeves up and dig in.
Yeah.
And actually, when I reflect on it, so, you know, Czech has a great history of hardware startups and even industries, radar, laser, 3D printing. And yet, when I look at the fundraising environment from a venture capital perspective, which I am in, there's such a bias towards software and away from hardware that it almost seems non-compatible with a lot of the core competencies of Czech industries. How was that for you, kind of managing growing a hardware startup in a place where hardware is not necessarily cherished from a funding perspective?
Yeah. You know, most of the hardware companies, not most, but many of those, they just fail because of the like difficulty of the hardware itself. For us, it was we had like good timing when we introduced the first product, because originally the idea came from the hackathon, and then the regulation came. So the transmitter family, those things that broadcast identification data, they were driven by the regulation. So the market needed some kind of solution, and we were the first to introduce such a product. So that gave us a big, like, you know, we were ahead of the competition. But still, developing hardware and software, it's tough. And we got the funding from Ysoft, hardware company as well. They helped us.
Ironically named Ysoft.
Yeah. And so we faced a lot of things on the market. For example, with the microchips, you know. there are not enough microchips in the world nowadays. So we just needed to buy from different vendors in different timeline, and the regulation comes in different timeline worldwide. You know, there was a US regulation for the remote identification, and they postponed it 3 times. So you can imagine how the drone market replied when they stated, okay, we will finally do it at this date. All of the pilots, all of the market was like, okay, you did it, you postponed it 3 times. Then the Europe came, and then parts of, you know, Japan, for example, Singapore will be adopting the remote identification early next year. And so there's a completely different timeline, and we are offering hardware product to the whole world, you know, without knowing how many pilots will be like willing to buy this thing to become compliant, because the adoption of the regulation differs as well. In US, they hated us, because when we were like having a booth at exhibition, there were like drone pilots stopping by and telling me, okay, so you're the guy who is exposing my position. So if someone will stab me, you know, a Karen, she hates me flying drone around her yard, so it will be your fault.
Yeah, very technically enabled Karen.
Yes, exactly. So this is something that you face. It was a completely different situation in Europe, and of course these regulators, they own the regulation. They did different campaigns to learn the market, and to tell the pilots that this needs to be done because of, and so we faced a lot.
Yeah, and was fundraising ever like a core issue for you there? When we're looking at hardware startups, we're often trying to get them to be bankable as soon as possible, to get out of financing working capital and inventory from equity, which is very expensive in the long run, and into financing facilities and basically using debt and just flushing this cash cycle. And it's a lot more sustainable in the longer run for growth, but it's not always readily accessible. And I even think the bar to obtain such financing here is a lot higher in terms of cash flow stabilities, you know, profitability compared to the US, where I think people are far more willing to take a bet on you from a debt perspective. So was that ever a core issue for you?
Well, no, not a core issue, because, you know, when I was speaking about the regulation coming in different timeline, this is hard to make the forecast. What's the market size? How many pilots will be willing to buy it, and so on. So we got into the situation that we got the funding from Ysoft, and then since the market exploded in the US, we made revenue.
Yeah,
so it was kind of weird situation. And then we got the support from those Czech institutions, from NATO and other institutions. So this is how we made it. You know, we never got into the situation that and someone willing to fund will say, okay, we do only software. You know, because we didn't not need it, but yeah, we plan to get investor, to get a partnership, but it needs to be done strategically. It needs to make sense for both parties. And we started as a hardware company, but in the near future we will be like hardware plus software company, because when broadcasting data and receiving the data, you need to work with the data. So that's our future, working with the data, because we want to become the ultimate supplier of the drone data to the market. So that will be a completely different situation next year, next 2 years. We will be working on integration into big software houses, providing solution to airports, to big enterprise companies utilizing drones. So even though we started with the hardware, those identification modules that we were successful with, they will die, because there won't be a need for it, because all of the drones flying will have the built-in version.
Native,
so you don't have to hang anything to your drone. So it's a path, you know, it changes. It used to be the transmitters, now it's receivers. In the future, it will be the data.
Okay, so let's say 5-10 years from now, what does Dronetag look like? You're no longer a hardware company?
We will still be a hardware company because that's the foundation of the company. But so hardware, yes. If it still will be in the world of drones, that's a question, because you know, manned aviation uses some kind of hardware. There are like different segments in the manned aviation, and 10 years is a really long term for me to imagine. But I believe that since we started as the hardware company and we learned a lot, and we were the only ones capable of squeezing so many features and so many things into such a small device, we keep this know-how and we want to apply it to other products. So still hardware, maybe a little bit of more of the software and the data side, but it will still be a combination. We don't want to avoid or skip the hardware part. So I believe that the company itself will be still offering a whole ecosystem. It's not just one product focused. We are not offering a single purpose solution. We offer the whole ecosystem, combination of the hardware, combination of the software, which makes added value to our customers. You know, there are competitors, they offer the identification modules, and what their identification modules are providing are the compliance only. So they just give you a single purpose tool. But with our solution, we like give the data to the client. For example, the flight logging. You know, we track the data, we collect it, and then we give it to the client for his reporting, for his map visualization, and this kind of stuff. And this can be done only when you have the software platform. So these are the things and the features that we offer to our clients. We are not just a single purpose company. We offer like a full, or a tool full of features.
Okay, so that's sort of your moat in the longer run as well. And I'm always interested to see, I know a lot of founders, when they go international for the first time, especially when they start to set up kind of logistical complexities and supply chain, it's always a question of like where to draw the line, how much to outsource in the pursuit of low cost versus how much to keep in-house. And you were saying your know-how is your ability to pack so much into such a small box. I know that you do assembly in Czech Republic, although your PCBs are printed in Taiwan. So how did you go through that decision of, you know, where to manufacture what and what competencies to keep in-house?
Well, you know, this decision was like, it was evolution. When we started like selling 50 pieces per week, it was okay. We were like capable of manufacturing everything in-house. Then the market exploded and we needed to start the production of 1,000 devices per week. So we had the agreement with the Taiwan company that will provide us with their workforce, with their like working and assembly line. And then when we saw the demand on the market, we just simply stated, okay, we won't be able to like manufacture so many pieces, so let's outsource it. So it was prepared already, and we just waited for the market to explode. And so yeah, most of our printed circuit boards are made in Taiwan, then sent here to Prague, Czech Republic, where we make the final assembly, final testing, and then the product goes to the client.
And do you have a fear of being reverse engineered and copied from a lower cost, you know, region such as China?
There are Chinese manufacturers providing the remote identification modules. They can be bought on eBay and Amazon, and they are much cheaper. But as I said, it's a single purpose thing. With bad battery life, with the quality of the manufacturing, you can see, of course, we have those devices. We buy them, we test them, we learn from them as well. So you can always buy a cheaper product. But when speaking about professional drone pilots, they need to be compliant and they fly expensive things. So their willingness to pay for exclusive products with, exclusive packaging, with the platform, with the multi-platform app, and this kind of stuff, they are willing to pay. So this is our client segment. We are not aiming on anyone who buys, $1,000 drone online, and this guy will buy the cheaper Chinese product. But if you are flying a way expensive drone, you want to have something reliable with good battery life, with the features that we provide, and these people are willing to pay. It's the same with every product. You can buy a cheap car to get from A to B, or you can buy a better car that you will feel comfy with and that you will be satisfied with. So, but when copying, we had a weird situation with United Arab Emirates, because they have their civil aviation authority, and they introduced a copycat product of our Dronetag Mini. They just did...
flattering you.
Yeah, they just did it online. They posted this website and stated that this is the identification tool for their region, for the United Arab Emirates. And we were like, okay, so this is the same product. Even though, even the graphics, they just re-rendered our graphics.
With your logo on it?
Not with, of course, they replaced the logo, but they kept the pattern of it.
Wow.
So that's how we found out. And we were like, okay, so this is a copycat. So what can we do? So we reached out to them. We sent them multiple emails. There were some weird communications because we asked them politely, okay, so what's this? You are, Civil Aviation Authority offering this product. It's a copycat of our product. So we would like to know more. Who's the producer? Yeah. How do you plan to approach it? And they replied, they've sent us phone number that looks like a phone number from Turkey. So we tried to call them because they stated, okay, this is the manufacturer of the devices, but the phone number didn't work. So then we sent them another email, and they've put our domain on the blacklist. Civil Aviation Authority of United Arab Emirates. They just, avoided communication with a company from Czech Republic being successful on the market.
Over an IP inquiry?
Yeah. And so we've sent them multiple emails. Then we asked our lawyer to make a communication with them. Then we did a press release stating that the Civil Aviation Authority is selling a copycat product, and we had communication with this guy who lives in Arab Emirates, and he told us that they were really angry with us doing this publicly, stating that they are selling this product. However, what can we do? Yeah. There's no goal. There's nothing that we can say, okay, with this activity, we want to achieve this. It's just stating, what's this? Why do you do it? How do you do it? And we don't understand what was their goal. Offering this thing, no one in the world will be able to manufacture enough of these devices without stealing the know-how from Dronetag. So we thought, okay, so maybe they are doing this to try what's the volume on the market, and then maybe they will give us a call and state, okay, let's make a white labeled version of your Dronetag Mini and we will utilize it. But it never happened.
The call never came.
these are the weird situations.
Are you aware of the origin of who was actually reverse engineering it and producing this? Was it out of China, or they actually did it in Turkey, or they did it themselves?
We don't know. There's no way how we can find it.
Okay, so it's quite possible, like today, someone's assembling a copycat Dronetag and selling it elsewhere.
Might be.
Yeah.
It's with all of the products that we have on a daily use, it might be, but still without, we've spent a lot of time, like years, developing the product, working, for example, with the button. You can see the haptic of the button, working on the LEDs, and all of these things. When you will outsource it and manufacture this in China, the quality won't be there. So still, you will find the difference. If the market needs, or if the market wills to see the difference and utilize the Chinese product or our product, it's up to them. Yeah. But still, it's with everything. Everyone can copycat everything.
Yeah, I think you've chosen the right strategy to go as ecosystem as a moat and kind of data aggregation as a moat. A nameless company that I won't name had a Kickstarter for a fantastic product. It was a kind of origami bottle, let's say. And they ran the Kickstarter. They had all the patents worldwide for this. And before they could even close the Kickstarter and bring the product to market, there was already a Chinese copycat selling the same product for about 1/10 of the price. And now this company spends most of its time suing Amazon to try to get a collection of the revenues that have been made from selling these products. And when they finally did get to market, the volumes of sales that they observed, like illegal copycats, that they got a small cut of versus their own was like 10-to-1. So it's so fast moving and so cost effective, this whole copycat dark industry, that you do need a strategy beyond that.
Exactly, I agree.
So I want to talk a little bit about defense, because I think it's the thing that everybody thinks about now when you hear the word drone. And I know that you're part of the NATO Diana program. I don't want you to talk about anything that you're not allowed to, but are you able to tell us a little bit what the future of your role in military and defense could look like?
Yeah. So this was quite interesting for us, because when we got accepted into the NATO accelerator, our goal was to understand the defense market, because we as a company, we are like based on the commercial market. We just provide a simple solution to drone pilots, to integrators, to drone manufacturers, and these groups of clients. So when we joined NATO Diana, it was about most of the time we spent like learning about the defense market, and of course there was like a big networking sessions that helped us to get in touch with these guys, because you can imagine speaking to someone like a drone pilot, you use a completely different words than speaking to someone in camouflage. So this was interesting, and our role will be in the identification, even though we are based on the commercial identification. You can see that the conflict in Ukraine, like nearly 30% of the drones being shut down are through friendly fire, because they don't know if the drone flying around is friendly or not. So they just apply the strategy, shoot it down, shoot everything. So there might be a solution how to solve this by broadcasting the identification data, and by providing the soldiers a solution how to receive the data and how to market, how to whitelist it, how to market this is a friendly one. But the conditions on the battlefield with the jamming, with all of the weather conditions, this is a completely different thing that we are used to. So with the defense market, what we usually do with our clients in this market is the common operating picture. That means that during their sessions, there can be training sessions or any military exercises. they are flying like a multi-agency training, which means that they have like 10 brands of drones flying from small FPV to like big drones. They are capable of carrying a lot of things, and all of these drones are flying at once. And there's no solution how to get a unified picture of the drones flying around, because 10 brands, maybe, okay, let's say 8 commercial available brands, and 2 types of drones being built by their own. There's no way how you can get the situational awareness, who is who, what altitude are they flying, and so on. So what we provide to the defense market nowadays are our trackers. You just simply hang the module to any kind of drone, and you get the data to our platform, and you can work with the data. So this is a solution that we help them for the defense exercises and military exercises. So this is when broadcasting the data. And then for the defense market, what we offer to the market is the drone identification tools, the receivers that read the identification data for restricted airspace, for the places where you want to avoid anyone flying a drone. So this is based on the commercial solution, slightly tailored to the defense needs, and that's what we offer to them.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the type of innovation happening, specifically in Ukraine. You know, you have the jamming, and so everyone had to move to these fiber optic threaded FPV drones, and then I saw a video of someone cutting, running out and cutting the cable. That's a scissors is the next best defense against these high-tech drones.
I was part of one military exercise where they showed us the situation in Ukraine. They just digged a hole and they told us, okay, let's stand there, and they flew multiple FPV drones flying around. When you imagine that the thing flies like 200 kilometers per hour, you can hear it like 100 meters away from you, and it carries 2 or 3 kilograms of TNT. That's really uncomfortable. So now imagine that there will be like hundreds of those flying. There's no way how you can counter them, and so this is what we can see on the market, the development of the things, as you mentioned, the fiber optics. There's no way how we can know about the drone being controlled from where, even though there's a limitation on the range of the cable itself, but still you can see the development, as you mentioned, how fast it is and how the adoption goes.
But also how kind of rudimentary, another line of defense for Ukraine is microphones, just to acoustically pick up the sound of the drones and try to triangulate where they're flying and where they've come from based on sound. So it feels like, sometimes the tech is almost over-engineered, and then it gets to the battlefield and you end up getting to these very, very rudimentary things. So I just wondered how that kind of influences, you're building these very high-tech things for high-tech commercial uses, but also you're trying to build something pragmatic and practical that can be useful in a battlefield scenario.
Yeah. So this is how we got into the dual use market. Based on the commercial, on our commercial experiences, we thought, okay, why not to try this one? And this is the learning curve that we are doing as well. That's what we gained from the NATO Diana, that there's always a way how to solve something. So when we have a commercial use product, let's think about how to reuse it in different scenarios. Of course, it needs a lot of energy, a lot of people setting and exploring the different features and different things, how we can use the product itself.
Yeah. I guess last question from me is a bit of a bigger picture thing. Where do you see, not necessarily the drone RID technology going, but where do you see the whole drone market going? What are the big developments that you're kind of excited for and looking out for in the next 5 to 10 years? Is it VTOL? Is it unmanned flights and AI? Is it swarms of coordinated drones? Yeah, where's it going?
It's hard to tell because when I got into Dronetag, I knew nothing about drones, and when I joined, I heard a lot of things. What will be the future? How the projects will be going on? For example, the use space, the harmonization of the manned and unmanned aviation, like a defined place where there are harmonized tools. We heard a lot of it. However, there's no use case yet because it's really hard to set up these things to make the harmonization happen. So, the defense market, I think it still will be the biggest part of the drone business itself. Then we have the logistics. And you can see that each year there are like different companies offering different usage of drones, spraying drones, precision farming and cleaning drones. All of these, even though they are like niche, but still they are like evolving. So I think that we will see in next few years how it will develop, because when we speak about, taxis for like traveling people by a drone, I don't see that because the technology is not there. How the engine will work, what's the payload it can take, and how secure is that. So these are, for me personally, these are like the weird projects. Whenever I see that there is a drone flying, they use different type of engines. This is future. So I think that the defense, the logistics, and the enterprise use of drones, big companies such Google and Amazon, they are utilizing drones because it's a flying thing. You can hang a lot of things to it, so why not to use it? So we will see. But the estimation of the market used to be that the logistics and the enterprise usage of drones will be ahead. However, these numbers were before Ukraine and Israeli attacks and this. So it's driven by, the whole ecosystem of the drones is driven by many influencers. So
especially right now.
Yeah.
Just signing off, you're, I think, an inspiration for a lot of Czech founders that are building hardware startups. Do you have any words of advice or things that you wish you had known when you were starting out that we can give as a parting gift to the listeners?
Don't stop exploring. So that's what we did. So we, we started with the hardware, then we found different usage of the product, and even though we didn't see the potential of many projects, we did it. We just said, okay, let's try it. Even though there won't be like a money at the end, we learned something. So it's about the exploration and learning and and be present on the market. That's what I think that was most useful for us, flying to US, flying to Asia, and talking to the people and to the companies and the key stakeholders in there. Because doing business from Prague with globally, it's hard.
Yeah.
So
very wise words. So thanks a lot, Jan, for joining us. Extremely interesting. I hope everybody learned a little bit about drones, the future of drones, and the whole kind of RID space. Jan, we're in the kitchen, and I'm obliged to ask you, what is the weirdest food that you've ever eaten?
Well, I've eaten a lot of things. I don't like bugs, so I don't enjoy it. But when I was in Thailand, I grabbed some food from the street vendor, and when walking the street, all of the people were shouting at me, "Chicken Buttman." So
that's new nickname?
My new nickname. So maybe grilled chicken butts.
Okay, that's gold. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.